and I guess the question is, who is more, um, who makes the music much better, Timbaland or Missy? So if you listen to, because I've recently heard a mix of Missy's, about 30 of her
Mm,
tracks, and
right.
Timbaland did about 90% of them. And I was listening to it and I'm thinking, um, is it Timbaland who had all the production that he could have used and given to anyone else, or is it Missy singing and rapping and doing her he and all that stuff over the track that's more impressive? If you were in a club or listen on the radio,
Right.
what would stand out to you? The production, the music, even when you think about Aaliyah singing stuff, or is it the vocals and the performance?
Um, that's really a hard question. Just because I think they equally contribute to the songs they work together on. The reason I say that is because they both have had a lot of successful records without each other. So, with the songs that they've worked together, of course, the beat is going to kind of get you going and like the interesting. But the way that Missy was also able to match that song with something equally as interesting and catchy. When we look at those songs she wrote for Aaliyah in the beginning, they were catchy. The songs she did for her own artists like Nicole Ray and Tweet, like there was something she brought. She brought an element that was just fun to R&B at that time, and she was a rapper, so she obviously came with a different approach to lyrics.
Hmm.
So I think that they equally are talented because Missy's had hits she wrote for 702. Those songs were not produced by Timbaland. She's written for Keisha Cole. She's written for other people that were not Timbaland productions. So it's just a testament to her songwriting ability. Um, and then Timbaland's work with what's the guy from Playa, Static.
Mm.
He's worked with other songwriters. Justin Timberlake is writing those songs a lot of the times, and with others, obviously. So the formula, I think they just had a good marriage, just like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, or Face and LA. Sometimes you can find a good marriage, and it's the best when they're together. In my opinion, is usually the best when they're together. Even though I don't think that that's still true. I think they're better apart than together. I've heard some of the stuff they try to do together now, and sometimes you just grow in different directions creatively.
Mm.
That's why we'll never get that same Missy project or like we used to have, because she's already tried to do songs with Timbaland, and they're just not, for me, working because his style has changed as well. But yeah, I don't know. But I do think that Timbaland, unintentionally and indirectly did affect, and Missy affected the trajectory of where R&B was growing in, I don't want to say a negative way. I just want to say that I don't know if the industry was a part of it, but I think that movement kind of, Timbaland specifically, kind of took the whole instruments and
Yeah, he's a beat maker.
natural sounds
He's
out
not a
of it.
musician. Because
Yeah, he's not.
Devontae,
So
they talk so much about how he was a musician. Pharrell, the Neptunes.
yeah,
I mean, I remember who was it? I think it was Levi or Tammy, or I can't remember who it was. They said that, you know, when they were back in the future, you had Pharrell always bringing a different instrument into the, no, not Pharrell, Chad, a
oh yeah,
trombone, a
Chad. We
cornet, and
always
he was
forget
always
Chad.
bringing, yeah, he was always bringing a different instrument into the recording session. And people are like, what this? This guy bringing an
Right.
oboe into the recording
And a
session.
ukulele.
Yeah, ukulele, but
Right.
they were
It's just
talented
weird stuff.
musicians to get their sound. Um,
Right.
but they learned
And
but they learned, okay, that how to create the sound on the drum machine. Others used the MP3 to sample, but it didn't sound too artificial. Timbaland
right.
was just like his whole, like, well, you can just, he became a beat maker
Yeah.
and that knew how to produce, and the sounds, it became easier, cheaper, and quicker to just to get a beat maker in. And so
Right.
anyway,
And he was
yeah.
sampling a lot of weird stuff and putting in the records like babies crying and
Yeah, yeah.
cars starting and the dryer going. Like he was just
Yeah, or
recording, just
Indian
throwing it in
Kuta
there.
to the
Indian, yeah, he was just doing all kinds of weird stuff. That's why I will give him props. Like when I say that, I don't think, like I said, I don't think intentionally that this came to change the game that way. When he first came out with, like, the first time I heard him was like first time I heard him was on Jodeci's album, but further forward, the first time I really heard him was on Aaliyah's project, and it just sounded like a bunch of, like, just drum beats, and I kept thinking, where's the musicality? Where's the this? But it was just so infectious, and like I was just like into it, and you just got so mesmerized by the beat patterns and the because we hadn't heard that many those kind of beat patterns at that time.
Mm.
So like I said, once his style really took off, it was almost like a push for that type of sound, and it was less musicality
Yeah.
and more drum driven, and more, how weird can we get with the beats, and that really kind of pushed the musicality to the side. And then, like I said, I don't think it was any intention by Timbaland. It's just that's how the nature of the game is, the industry is.
Yeah, but as I said, it's all about cost as well. I mean, it's
Yeah,
cheaper.
cost as well.
It's cheaper to just get one guy making beats than it would be to get a host, session musicians, and all that stuff in. But it's going to be fascinating to see where it takes us going forward.